Many of my audience view my videos on TVs or on senior tablets, and most are unable to view the production notes and/or are unable to click on description links. Therefore, when a message posted elsewhere is so important that it simply must be seen, I have taken the liberty to post it here. Credits and link to the source is given as a method of gratitude to the author. I encourage all of you to manually share this video, since it deals with critical and impending situations that the corporate-controlled media simply will not touch. The world is about to embark on a new era of human freedom and dignity, or it will descend into the depths of an inescapable techno-Nazi tyranny that will enslave humanity forever. You simply cannot sit on the fence for this one. Your liberty and your life hangs in the balance. Hello, this is Dave from Net for Truth USA. It is February 10th, 2019. And I know a lot of you out there are watching this on a smart TV where you can't get up and click on links. So I am going to take the liberty of including what I think is probably the most incredible video ever posted on YouTube against the deep state. Mike Adams of counterthink.com, and I will leave a link in the description for those of you who are watching on smartphones and on computers to go and explore this excellent website. And that Savandis posted this, and I am following suit because this needs to be spread all over the United States. Basically, Mike Adams summarized what I have been saying on this channel and my previous two channels for 3 years. If we want to get our country back, we are going to have to take it back. They are not going to give it to us. They've had it for a long, long time. And the corruption goes deeper than even anybody's wildest imagination can conjure. These people want to destroy the United States, and they want to obliterate humanity from off the face of the earth. And if you can't wrap your head around that, then I'm afraid to say that you're going to be a victim, you and your family. It's time to rise up, people. We have our last chance with this president to take our country back from the corporate fascists, what I call the Techno-Nazis. If Adolf Hitler had a Palm Pilot, you and I would be singing Edelweiss right now and doing the Hitler salute. That is a fact. And when the government appears on the mainstream media, which is corporate controlled, gets up there like during the terrorist attacks of 20 years ago, and says that we couldn't connect the dots. My answer to that is, yeah, you couldn't connect the dots because you are the dots. Mike Adams summarized this perfectly in his wake-up call to America and his message to the president. I could have not said it better if I sat down with a word processor and crafted the words myself over many months. This summarizes what we need to do to take back this country out of the hands of the globalists, Satanists that seek to destroy humanity and have the rest of what survives be their slaves. I know it's hard to wrap your head around this. It's hard to wrap your head around people eating babies and human DNA in your fast food, and all of the other stuff that they're doing, these weapons from space that set half of California on fire, the chemtrails that are poisoning the air and seeding the ground with aluminum and barium particles, among other things. These people are pure evil. There's only one way to deal with evil. This is Dave from Net for Truth USA. Thank you for watching, and watch this.
We are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised.
Americans, mobilize. Stand together, stand tall. Tell the government you're mad as hell. No longer cooperate with the government. Do everything in your power to restore freedom and your individuality back to America. Stop being a country run by the institutions for the institutions. Let's go back to we the people, by the people, for the people, as opposed to we the institution, by the institution, for the institution.
Stop being scared. We have to stand up and do what's necessary to take back, to stop these bankers, these elite, this government full of lies, congressmen full of liars.
As Iraq veterans against the war, we are resisting an occupation we once risked our lives for. We swore to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America, but we found out the hard way that the greatest enemies of the Constitution are not to be found in the sands of some far-off land, but rather right here at home. When injustice becomes law, resistance becomes duty. It is time we start meeting oppression with resistance. They cannot stop us. Humanity marches on. The utmost manifestation of love and devotion to America is today, as it always has been, resistance of tyranny. Resist we must, and resist we will. We will not be silent. We will not obey. We will not let our government destroy our humanity. We will not wait another moment in fear to stand up for what we know to be right. It is time we start meeting oppression with resistance.
Northwoods, explain that really quick. This is
1962. The Joint Chiefs of Staff signed a document that was planning on having fake attacks on American civilians and blaming it on the Cubans to get us to go to war with Cuba. They were going to blow up a drone jetliner. They were going to send a jet into the air and blow it up.
Oh my
God!
And
blame the Cubans for it and get us to go to war with Cuba. Planning on having fake attacks on American civilians.
The time when the operation of the machine becomes so odious, makes you so sick at heart that you can't take part. You can't even passively take part. And you've got to put your bodies upon the gears and upon the wheels, upon the levers, upon all the apparatus, and you've got to make it stop. And you've got to indicate to the people who run it, to the people who own it, that unless you're free, the machine will be prevented from working at all.
I served with Kilo Company, 3rd Battalion, 8th Marines as an automatic machine gunner. There's a term, once a Marine, always a Marine, but there's also the term, eat the apple, F the core. I don't work for you no more.
And I'm a Marine. I took an oath to defend the Constitution. The Constitution! I didn't take an oath to defend these banksters. And I guarantee you, all you devil dogs out there need to rise up and take over this country and defend the Constitution against these punks. Okay, I'm sick of it too, Alex. You know, I'm a Marine, but I'm sick of this. You know, they're using us and they're sucking us dry and they are destroying us.
People should not be afraid of their governments.
This is a global emergency. Important news and information to follow.
Today is an emergency broadcast, perhaps the most important broadcast that I've ever done of all time. Today I'm going to ask the President of the United States to declare a national emergency and activate what I call the new American Revolution that must happen for America to be saved from this onslaught, this enemy invasion, including domestic enemies that are now attempting to destroy our republic as well as our culture. The media is operating as now enemy combatants in a civil war that they started. The media is what I call journo-terrorism, the corporate-run media. I'm talking about the left-wing establishment media. Journo-terrorism. They are terrorists. They are not protected by the First Amendment. They are doing what's the equivalent of shouting fire in a crowded theater. That is not constitutionally protected free speech. They are actively plotting against this nation. They want to see America overrun, invaded, occupied by illegal aliens. They want to see our democracy overthrown. They want to see the 2016 election overturned. These journalists and media outlets, many reporters, by the way, will probably be watching this video, which is important. I'm glad you are, because it will help you understand what's coming. Because you are the enemy of America, and you will be stopped. You are traitors. You are engaged in acts of sedition and treason. You have started a war, and then you have joined the enemies of America. You are enemy combatants against America. And it is time that the American people, with the cooperation of the President himself, stopped you from continuing to destroy this nation. There is no legal remedy against this atrocious abuse of editorial power. These media giants, they smear you knowing that it will cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to sue them. And if you sue them, you will likely lose. And if they can claim you're a public figure, you will almost certainly lose. These evil corporations that answer to no one, where there's zero transparency, there's no congressional oversight, there's no legal oversight, they answer to no one. They now control or attempt to assert control over what you are allowed to speak, to print, to see and read. This is fascism. These are unacceptable circumstances for a nation that's supposed to be founded on freedom, with First Amendment protection to freedom of speech. The situation is unsustainable. We, the people, must rise up with our president. We must be part of a new American revolution, and we must defeat corporate fascism. Now, at the same time all this is going on, the deep state government, and even just the open government, does nothing to stop this. The Republicans had the House and the Senate and the White House for 2 years, and they sat back and they did nothing to stop this. Nothing. Because the rhinos, the Republican establishment, they are cowards, spineless. They have no courage. They don't even qualify as Americans, as far as I'm concerned. They stand for nothing except their own re-election. They just want to appease everybody and be popular and accepted instead of being courageous and having morals and ethics. I know there are a few exceptions, by the way, like Louis Gohmert and others on the Freedom Caucus. There are a few exceptions, Senator Rand Paul and so on. But by and large, the rhino Republicans are an embarrassment to this country. Oh, and Devin Nunes in California is a hero. He's a hero. That guy deserves a medal for what he has done to try to expose the deep state. And there are others. I haven't named everybody, but just by and large, the Republican establishment sits back and does nothing to help us, to help America. The government does nothing. Where is the antitrust action against Google and Facebook and YouTube? These companies need to be shut down. They need to be disassembled, broken up. Their CEOs need to be indicted and prosecuted for engaging in mass crimes against the American people, violating the civil rights of the American people, the constitutional rights, the basic civil liberties of Americans are violated every day by Google and Facebook and Apple and YouTube and others. And yet there has been zero action from the government. Now, you might say, well, gosh, why isn't Trump doing anything? Trump is surrounded by deep state traitors. Trump is trying to do things. Trump ordered, remember, the release of the FISA documents, and the deep state traitors inside the FBI and the DOJ, those deep state traitors refused to follow the order of the president. They refused to release those documents. They should have been arrested. Trump should have issued an arrest for them. He should have invoked the military police and said, you're under arrest. Arrest those people and hold them for trial under military tribunals. And in fact, President Trump should still do that. All of those deep state traitors should be arrested. They should all face trial for treason against the United States of America. That's one of the things the president needs to do. But don't blame Trump for this inaction. Trump doesn't have total control. He's not a dictator. He can't command everybody to do everything that needs to get done. He has to have the cooperation of at least the Republicans, and the vast majority of the Republicans are doing nothing. And the government regulators are doing nothing. The Federal Trade Commission should be all over this. The Department of Justice should be all over this. The DOJ should be threatening Google with massive fines, multi-billion-dollar fines, lawsuits, and criminal prosecutions. Same thing true with Apple and all the others that I've mentioned. Twitter. Jack Dorsey should be in handcuffs. Mark Zuckerberg should be in prison. These people, in my view, are criminals who are committing massive crimes on a huge scale against not just the citizens of the United States, but the citizens of the world. And these tech companies have become more powerful and more dangerous than any government in the history of our world. And even as we have the benefit of a First Amendment to guarantee that the government cannot censor us, and a Second Amendment to guarantee that we have the right to fight back against a tyrannical government, we don't have the same protection against the tyranny of corporate fascism. And this is where we find ourselves. How do we defeat this corporate tyranny that is now more powerful than any government tyranny in the history of our world? And the answer to that is that we have to take action in the 3D world with the approval, the permission of our president declaring a national emergency. The 3D world is where we defeat these fascist corporate entities. We occupy and dismantle their infrastructure. We take apart their servers piece by piece. This is how it's done. This situation is not compatible with a free society. That is really the big point of what I'm saying today. Where we find ourselves today with this incredible corporate fascism, the lying left-wing media, and the extreme censorship of the tech giants, and the incompetence of the government. This situation is unacceptable, and we the people will not stand for it. And that's why today, I'm going to do it right now. I am officially calling for President Trump to take the following actions. President Trump must, number one, declare a national emergency. He must use the power that is in the office of the executive to declare this national emergency over fake news, tech company censorship, the lies, the ripping apart of our culture by this collusion between the fake media and the tech giants. He must declare a national emergency, and that's just the start. He must then declare or deputize the American citizens, the patriots, to rise up, to take to the streets in the spirit of the Yellow Vest protests in France, or in the spirit of the people of Venezuela who are right now rising up by the millions, it seems, maybe it's hundreds of thousands, it's a huge number, to defeat the fascism and the tyranny of Maduro, who has driven that nation into destitution and starvation with massive human suffering, massive secret prisons, the torture of dissidents who tried to speak out against the government, total government control over the media there in Venezuela, absolute tyranny. And that's where America is headed if we don't rise up and stop this now. But to reiterate, President Trump must declare a national emergency, and he must declare a new American revolution. He must invite the American people to rise up and to literally occupy and dismantle the fake news media that's poisoning America and the dishonest, corrupt tech giants that are censoring some of the most important voices of our country. This is what I call action in the 3D world. And I'm not calling for violence. I say peacefully occupy and dismantle these fake news institutions and these toxic tech giants. We the people, by the hundreds of thousands, must march on these institutions with the activation of the president himself. We must occupy their buildings and dismantle their infrastructure. Take apart their cubicles and desks and computers piece by piece. Disassemble them. Let these traitors know that we, the people, will not stand by and allow our country to be stolen and our patriots to be slandered and smeared and censored. We will not allow our borders to be invaded. We will not allow our democracy to be stolen. We will not allow our president to be lied about year after year after year by a deliberately dishonest media that has no interest whatsoever in printing the truth or in acting as a news media organization. They are so far beyond that's an ancient, distant memory to those organizations. They have zero interest in functioning as a news media. They want to destroy this country, excuse me, and they're doing it. And we must stop them. And this is the only remaining option. And by the way, as this is happening, I should mention, President Trump must also invoke the military police arrest of all the deep state traitors. He must initiate the military police to arrest James Comey, to arrest Hillary Clinton, to arrest Barack Obama, who is a treasonous traitor who oversaw extraordinary abuses of power, crimes of corruption, collusion, multiple felony crimes, sharing America's military secrets with foreign entities, and much more. He is guilty of a long list of violations of America's laws. There are many more people who must be arrested and prosecuted. Loretta Lynch, Eric Holder, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, Andrew McCabe. These are just a few of the names. The thing is, President Trump already has the evidence. He's got all the documents. And he has demanded that some of them be released. And then the deep state tried to stop him. Well, they did stop him from releasing those. President Trump can no longer trust the bureaucracy to follow the commands of the commander-in-chief. President Trump can no longer trust that the system is going to carry out his orders. And my message to the president today is, Mr. President, the American people are with you. The American people are ready to put our lives on the line to defend our nation. We are ready to sacrifice everything in defense of this country, our democracy, and the rule of law, which must be restored. Sanity must be restored in this country. We are willing to do what needs to be done with your permission, President Trump. We are willing to do it. We will take to the streets by the hundreds of thousands to help you defeat the deep state. We will take to the streets to help defeat and dismantle the tech giants and the dishonest, poisonous, toxic media that's trying to tear this country apart. All we need is your activation. And we will initiate this. All we need is for you to invoke this power, because you see, we are not vigilante citizens. We need the president's support. And that's all it's going to take, is the president and the people to defeat and dismantle these institutions that are now allied against America. The enemies within are operating right now, every minute of every day. They are running the New York Times. They are not journalists. They are journo-terrorists. They are running the Department of Justice. They are running the FBI. The FBI is not a legitimate organization anymore. The FBI is run by traitors and those engaged in collusion and sedition against the United States of America. The FBI must be dismantled, just like the New York Times must be dismantled. But we, the people, aren't going to do it ourselves without being given orders, in essence, or activation maybe is a better way to say that. We need our president to stand up and say, yes, this is the last remaining option to defend America. This is it. This is what it has come to. Because the fascist left has taken over the schools, they've taken over the media, they've taken over Hollywood and pop culture and late night comedy. They've taken over the internet and the tech giants and even the very definition of truth. The left-wing radicals have taken over almost everything. And they are the ones calling for the murder of our children in Kentucky and other places. And they are the ones smearing our president. And they are committing massive fraud in the elections. And believe me, a conservative will never win another election again for the White House if we do not defeat these deep state Democrats right now. They will commit massive vote fraud, election fraud, illegals voting, ballot harvesting, destroying mail-in ballots for conservatives, whatever it takes. They will commit massive fraud and criminality to make sure that no conservative ever gets into the White House ever again. The only way to stop that is to do it now while you have the power, Mr. President. You have the power of the executive. Use it, or we will never have it again. These are the last days of America. It's over for America if you, Mr. President, don't rise up and help save this nation by just asking for help. Just ask for help. You don't have to do it all alone. We, the people, are with you. I no longer, I don't have any care for my own, whatever happens to me is irrelevant. What I care about is what happens to our nation. I care about protecting our freedoms and liberties and this great constitutional republic for future generations. I've been smeared and lied about, censored, economically sabotaged, just the most outrageous lies imaginable, just like they do to President Trump. They've tried to destroy me and shut me up. They've tried to kill me. They've stalked me. They've death threatened me. I've put up with a lot, but this isn't about me. This is about the future of our country. And that's why I'm saying what I'm saying today. I know I'm going to be attacked for saying this. Doesn't matter. This is the last remaining option, the new American revolution, with the permission of our president. This is the last remaining option. And if the president doesn't invoke this, by the way, probably at the next election, the people may invoke it themselves. But the president needs to invoke this right now because we need to have the commander-in-chief really recalling all the members of law enforcement, the military, veterans, patriots, concealed carry holders, all the citizens that love America need to be told to rise up, to take to the streets, to launch the new American revolution, to defend our president, defend our democracy, defend our republic, and to, again, occupy and dismantle the enemies of America, the enemies operating within. Those include the New York Times, CNN headquarters, Facebook headquarters. Listen, I'm talking about peacefully walking in, occupying by the thousands these buildings and dismantling them to stop their destruction of America, but doing it with the permission of the president. You see, I won't call for this myself. I'm only calling on the president to invoke this because we need that legal permission to engage in this action. It's an important part of history. But the president needs to know that the people are with him and that we, the people, we don't care about our own individual fate. We don't mind what happens to us individually. We stand for something bigger than ourselves. We stand for the future of this nation. We stand for defeating this intense evil that has swept across our nation like a dark cloud, the cloud of, communism, fascism, a combination, some weird twisted combo of socialism, communism, and fascism. And it has to be defeated. And we're running out of time to do it. And the president, as much as he's trying, is realizing that there's nobody in government that will help him because the government is just there to protect itself for the most part. The establishment wants to protect the establishment. And they're willing to do anything to protect themselves. Anything. They don't care if they call for the murder of school children in Kentucky. They don't care if there are false flag acts of terrorism that they can blame on conservatives. They don't care what they have to do. They will murder people. They will be complicit in their murder as long as they, the establishment, maintain their power. And that power, it's like this, it used to be the military-industrial complex. Now it's the tech giants, the media, and corrupt government. Those three working together, and then, of course, you have the pharmaceutical industry and the vaccine industry and the cancer industry and the weapons industry all thrown in there. And it's all about protecting that system, not allowing humanity to be free. And I stand for freedom. And I have real compassion for real human beings. And I'm a libertarian on most issues, including social issues. I've lived many places around the world. I speak 3 languages. My wife is an immigrant. I'm a laboratory scientist and a best-selling author. My book, Food Forensics, was the #1 science book on Amazon.com. I've lived a wonderful life, and I've never backed down. I've never surrendered to tyranny, and I'm sure as hell not going to start now. This is why I've decided if no one else is going to step up and call for this, I'm going to do it. And again, I hereby call for President Trump to declare a national emergency and invoke a new American revolution, for the president to call for people to take to the streets by the millions to peacefully occupy and dismantle these poisonous fascist institutions of the fake news media and the dishonest, censorship-driven tech giants that are destroying our nation. They must be dismantled. I'm not saying do it on your own. I'm not calling for violence. I'm calling for the president to issue this statement. Now, if he were to do so, there would be immediate calls for his impeachment. There would be attempts to have him arrested. We, the people, would need to be in Washington, D.C. immediately to physically help defend the president, to physically stop the deep state from taking him out. We would also need to defend our communities against the uprising of the radical violent left, the terrorist groups known as Antifa and Red Guards and others. Now, anticipating this, I would also advise President Trump to immediately declare Antifa to be a terrorism group, and then declare all governors of sanctuary states and mayors of sanctuary cities to be complicit in protecting another group of terrorists that also must be declared by President Trump, which is the illegal aliens and the drug cartels that are crossing the borders and committing acts of extreme violence, murder and rape and terrorism in the United States of America. They are being protected by liberal mayors and liberal governors like Newsom in California and Brown before him. These people must be arrested. They are aiding and abetting terrorists who are plotting to destroy the United States of America. This cannot be allowed any longer. You cannot protect violent criminals and terrorists against federal prosecution. So the president can do all of these things. He has the power to do it. He simply needs to invoke this power and have faith in the American people. You see, the president is not being given good information by the people around him. His advisors are lying to him all the time, just like the media is. In real America, we the people support the president. In real America, we the people, we're fed up. We are ready to take whatever action is necessary and authorized by the president to defend our nation. We just wait for confirmation and a command from our commander-in-chief. That's it. That's all that's needed. And we can save this country. Now, as this is happening, the radical left will be committing mass murder. They will set buildings on fire. They will try to shoot people for being white, for example. White people are clearly the enemy of the left. All Second Amendment supporters in America must know that it is within their rights to defend themselves against this violence. Not to initiate violence or to seek it out, but to defend yourself and to defend your communities against this violence. Second Amendment holders or supporters and concealed carry holders all across America must know that with the permission of the president, they can join in this to help secure communities and stop the violence that will be carried out by the lunatic communist left. They have AK-47s, they have pistols, they have, weapons. And they're going to have to be stopped in order to protect communities, but stopping them must be done in accordance with supporting local law enforcement to keep communities safe, to keep innocent people safe. Antifa is going to have to be defeated, and they will try to murder as many people as possible once this is initiated. So rest assured, the only path to saving America is a path where we must walk through this hellstorm of extreme violence carried out by the left. We're going to have to defend ourselves. We're going to have to assert our First Amendment rights and our Second Amendment rights. We're going to have to defend our nation. We're going to have to defeat those who are enemies of our nation. We're going to have to do this with the support of President Trump. If he fails to do this, America may be lost. This may be the last chance to save America, to take it back and restore or protect our constitutional republic. Time is growing short. The 2020 election is just around the corner. Media lies have not stopped. The censorship is only getting worse. The economic sabotage against Trump supporters is at an extreme level. America is descending into an Orwellian tyranny. Corporate fascism is running loose. destroying the very fabric of our society, silencing voices, and eliminating any ability to engage in debate, which is the pillar of democracy and votes. How can you vote if you can't debate and even know what the debate is about? The situation must be remedied. And Mr. President, we the people are ready to help you to accomplish this. We are ready and willing. Give us the order, and we will get it done.
And let me end with this. If you think Mike Adams is lying to you, just read the comments on this channel, which is comprised mostly of people my age who are ready, willing, and able to do exactly what Mike Adams says. We will support the president, and we will put ourselves physically in the way of the deep state hurting one hair on his head. And God forbid they should hurt that man. It will be like the book of Revelation. The blood will be up to the horses' bridles, and we will clean the deep state once and for all. This is Dave from Net4 Truth USA. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to our backup channel, Whirlwind Revolt. Listen to chapters from my new book, Work in Progress, by the same title. The link is in the description section.